Welcome to Spam Filter for Your Brain. Bite-sized ponderings on how our thoughts influence our behaviour and our lives. And because we're all connected, how our thoughts impact the world. I'm here to help people reconnect with their bodies and declutter their brains. And I don't believe that we should just magically know how our emotions and our thoughts impact our lives if no one ever teaches us. So let's learn this stuff together. Today I want to talk about overwhelm. I think a lot of the time we can confuse ourselves by thinking that overwhelm is having too many things to do and not enough time to do it in. And what I have been contemplating quite a lot lately is that actually I believe that overwhelm is not having too many things on my to-do list, but it is lacking the energy and the resources and the emotional availability to be able to say no to taking on more things, to doing more things, and to telling people that I am available when I'm not available for myself. And I think that this idea of overwhelm can slightly reframe it from this endless to-do list of tasks that we may have to do for work or for family or for home or possibly for ourselves. But to bring the idea home that we have a lot more power in this situation than we think. I think quite often, however way you strip it back, overwhelm quite often just feels like powerlessness. It feels like we're out of control. It feels like there is a to-do list which is more important than our own well-being. And so if we are to explore the concept of reframing this as overwhelm being us not having quite enough time, space or energy to contemplate what we need in this situation, suddenly we have a possibility of us being able to pause and reflect on what we need in order to be able to survive this situation and how we can navigate it with more compassion towards ourselves. And this isn't just about being self-indulgent, all introspection, making everything about ourselves. Because the irony is that the more that we centre our own needs, the more that we look at how much capacity we have for things, the more we are able to define what it is that we are able to put our focus and our energy to. And so we give that thing more of ourselves, more of our capacity to do it with our full hearts. And when we do things half-heartedly, which is what we have to do quite a lot when we're feeling overwhelmed, this is when we can quite often feel like we're not prioritising the people that we care about, the things that we care about, and other people can quite often receive this as well, to be aware that we're not fully present with the stuff that we're trying to do. So the concept of being able to process your emotions, being able to feel your feelings, being able to work through whatever it is that you're going through at that time can feel really daunting when we already have a massive to-do list. We can think that actually dealing with our emotions is the last thing we bloody need. What we want to be doing is just making some headway, I think is quite often the ironic way that it's phrased. Not much headway at all. And there are various different methodologies that I teach on how to process an emotion and let it sort of flow through you and flow through your body. But the key thing that I invite you to take home and see if it's useful for you is that by resisting emotions, they quite often get bigger. And so the more that we can think, well, I don't have time to be feeling stressed at the moment, or I don't have time for feeling anxiety, or I don't have time for sadness, I don't have time for grief. And there is a lot of opportunity for grief in our lives that I think that we don't make any time for or allow ourselves the time for. If we try and push these emotions away, our brain thinks that there's an emergency, so it just tries to make this emotion bigger and bigger until you actually pay attention to it. And sometimes taking a sidestep and being willing to feel your way into your feelings actually not only gives you more time and more availability, but it gives you more of yourself back. And this feeling of overwhelm, I think, could be really easily summarised by just not feeling like you are yourself. You don't feel like you have enough of yourself to be able to give to the tasks that you're choosing to do, and there isn't enough of you to go round. So any kind of actions that we can take that make us feel more of ourselves is going to be actions that give us more energy, more time, and more of our heart into the tasks that we choose to take on. And to be able to decline the ones that we don't want to take on and feel like we're able to set better boundaries about what we do and don't want in our lives. I have an emotional resilience toolkit, which is £11.11, which is available through the link in my bio, should you wish to take this work a little bit deeper. But that sort of isn't the point of this recording, really. The podcast today, I just really want to invite you to, when you're right in the thick of it, if you can just, even when you make a cup of tea, when you have a little pause, rather than running through the list of all of the extra things that you need to do, you have to get done. Is there any way that you could pause and go, what am I feeling right now? And is there any messages that my body is trying to give me that I'm trying to push away because I'm telling my body that I don't have time for this? What wisdom is here that I'm ignoring because I've told myself that I don't have space for it today? And see what else could be possible for you. Because we've all been very overwhelmed and had an enormous to-do list for an awful long time. And if you don't want that to be the story for the rest of your forever, then maybe it could be worth experimenting with something a little bit new sometimes. I hope that it serves you. I hope that it is useful in your days. I'd love to hear if there is any cases and scenarios where you find this little practice useful. And I look forward to speaking to you next week. I hope you find some time in your week to take some breaths for yourself. If you're enjoying what you're hearing on the podcast here, I would love to invite you to Self-Care School. Self-Care School is a membership site where we have group coaching calls every week. We have a whole load of courses that you can dip into for whatever suits your needs. We have courses on confidence, body image, timekeeping, how to manage big emotions, overwhelm, loads and loads of stuff in there. You can kind of pick out whatever you want to work on. There is a big library of workbooks, which includes journal prompts and questions for you to be able to apply this work to your own life. And we have the most amazing community where people support each other. We learn from each other, and you get to work alongside people with quite often very different life situations to your own, and we learn so much together in community. If you would like some more of this, please do hop over to selfcareschool.co.uk.